I lost my legs when I was 16 months old in a bomb explosion in Vietnam. All the damage was done to my legs. I was adopted when I was 20 months old.
It does hit me once in a while. I wake up sometimes and I'm like, whoa, I don't have legs. Growing up, we had a huge pool in our backyard. I just really grew up in the water. I've been swimming for 7 years. I'm competing for Team USA. Like, that's a really big privilege to have. I have this big family and I get to travel all over the world, and I see how blessed I am to have all that. Usually at the end of the day, I am really ready to take off my legs. They're always really sore, like really behind my knees a lot. I think it's just because they rub there, and then kind of on the tops of my legs, kind of like where most of the pressure is right there. My name is Haven Shepherd, and I'm 17 years old. I lost my legs when I was 16 months old in a bomb explosion in Vietnam. What I was told, my parents who had me had an affair and had me. So in Vietnam, women can't divorce husbands. So they thought the only way they thought they could be together was to commit a family suicide. And they strapped bombs onto themselves and held me. And all the damage was done to my legs, obviously, and then I survived. I was adopted when I was 20 months old. I was the 5th girl and the 7th child, so I had a bunch of extra mamas around.
I have a friend that has a foundation. Her grandparents had asked if they could go into their handicap shelter because they were too poor to take care of her. Our friend said, hey, do you want to go along with us on this trip? And so we went with them to bring her back on a medical visa. And while we were there, she convinced us that we were her parents. You have all these preconceptions of what a special needs child with a physical handicap would mean. And, she's running around on her knees. She's running around, she's putting our flip-flops on her little stumps and, just making us laugh. And we're like, we can do this.
I just never really was insecure about not having legs. And I think it's because my mom really dressed it up, like how attractive it was to not have legs. Yes, it's really hard not having legs. I get tired easy, but I just don't really understand the why I need to not having legs, or why I was insecure about not having legs. It does hit me once in a while. I wake up sometimes and I'm like, whoa, I don't have legs. That's just kind of my life. We had a huge field right in the backyard of our house, and so I learned how to ride a dirt bike, and I just remember a lot of my memories were outside. Nothing really slowed me down. The thing is about my childhood, being the 7th, I was basically raised in gymnasiums. And all my sisters ran track in college. Most of my siblings were collegiate athletes, so there was no adaptive sports for me to look at, We had a huge pool, and I just really grew up in the water. My mom was like, why don't you try swimming? And I was like, no. Swimming's a weird sport. The guys wear Speedos. That's gross. My mom was like, you've been swimming all summer, so you're fine. You won't drown. So I tried it and I loved it. I spent a week in Tulsa with my uncle, who was a swim coach, and he taught me all the strokes. And after that, we went straight to Colorado Springs, to the Olympic Training Center, for my very first swim meet ever. I've been swimming for 7 years, and I've never looked back. I'm competing for Team USA. That's a really big privilege to have. Before quarantine, I would swim 7 days a week and then go home, rest for a little bit, go to CrossFit at 9:30, get done at 11:30, then have the rest of the day to just catch up on schoolwork, rest, take an ice bath. 2020 Tokyo was really the end goal. Like, I thought this year was the year I needed to hit right away because I'm 17. I've been to multiple countries by myself now competing, so I really felt like I was ready to go. I was in the best shape of my life, and that all came down when COVID-19 hit. I was glad they didn't cancel it, but they just pushed it another year.
I'm the most proud of the fact that she can get out in front of a stadium of people in a swimsuit, and she can take her legs off in front of everyone, and she can be on those blocks with all the able-bodied kids and girls. Being comfortable with who she is, that has been my passion as a mother for all my kids.
She always knew she wanted to be an athlete because that's kind of how our family was. Everyone was an athlete, but she definitely fits right in there with the rest of us. Even though Haven's younger than me, I definitely look up to her in a lot of areas in life. And I think she's always teaching us things, and whether it's with excuses or with its dedication or hard work.
If I had legs, my life would be very different. I would still be in Vietnam. I wouldn't have the life I would have here now. Like, I'm very blessed to have the life I live. I see that as a really big pleasure. I have this big family, and I get to travel all over the world, and I see that how blessed I am to have all that just because I don't have legs.